Danny, you'll be making the move up to Director of Rugby Operations with us at the Tigers. Just explain how this role is going to be and how this has come about.
Yeah, obviously very excited and looking forward to what that means for myself and for the club. When I first came in, as well as being assistant coach at the first team, my role entailed kind of looking after the youth pathways and making sure we got our academy licence back, which we did. And we did that, quite successfully within 12 months. So I think that this step up is probably more of the same, but on a wider and grander scale. I'll move out of coaching completely. We've got some good coaches in there now that are going to help take the club forward. But my eye will be on the future Castleford Tigers from first team level down, and making sure that we've got a conveyor belt of talent with a wide conveyor belt of pathways to produce people for Castleford, either players or representative or officials. But ultimately making sure our first team environment is strong. Keep an eye on making sure that we rebuild our culture and make sure that we get people that want to play for Castleford Tigers. Years gone past, they've had some really, really good players that are ingrained in Cas Tigers DNA. And we're clearly at a point now where we're at a transitional period. And we need to move that on and progress that. And part of my role will be making sure I help lead that. Another aspect of it will be really working on the IMG stuff. Obviously, the way the game's going to go and working with IMG and the RFL, the strategic plan behind that would sit with me. So I'm really looking forward to getting some teeth in that too.
In terms of, you said, players that are proud to represent the jersey, I know Lasty talks a lot about proud to be Cas. Just how do you implement that at your kind of level, and what will you be doing in terms of that?
Yeah, like any successful business, they have to have an overriding vision, and we're in the final stages of agreeing as a club. That's everybody, staff, right across the board, on field, off field, of what that would look like, and then we need to make sure our strategy and philosophies underpin that really well. Ultimately, proud to be Cas isn't far off. I think it needs to be built around the community of Cas. I think we need to represent the community of Cas, and our success should be built on the strength of our community and our engagement with the community. So I think there's a lot of work to go at, and we want people to come on and perform at every single level, playing for Cas Tigers, like our spectators and our local people would expect a Castleford Tigers person to play.
Yeah, how important is it that that's kind of from the top downwards and it goes through the entire club, those kind of standards, that kind of belief?
Yeah, I think all your successful clubs have that. People would... Success leaves clues, and you look at your Wiggins and your Saints and your Leeds of their dynasty in the past, them 10 years. It just ran through their blood, from the top down and bottom up, and I think that's what we have to get to. I think that's what I can add in terms of that connection to rugby, stepping up and working closely with Mark, with the board and with Richard as well, and to make sure that we can get that running through our veins in terms of what we all see a Castleford Tigers player to look like.
In terms of players coming through, there's never been a better pathway here at the Tigers, really, with Rob Nicolay, with Scott Morrell and those kind of people in place now for players to be able to make that step up and come through the system here at the Tigers. Yeah,
your pathway is always judged on player production, and it would be unfair of me to say that it's the best it's ever been. I'm sure in the past there was some good systems in place, and that's credit to whoever was here at the time. Unfortunately, that licence got taken away for whatever reason, and player productivity plays a part of that. So to answer your question as fairly as I can, is I believe we've got the best system, in the game. I would think that, and we've had similar systems in the past at other clubs that have proven that success, but it takes time. And like I said at the start of this, there was the benefit of your system is only as good as the head coach and how they would play the players, and I think we have that. So we've got a good academy system, and we have what we really need in terms of a head coach that's going to play youth. So yeah, I believe we've got the best pathway we have had because of those reasons.
How important is it to have Andy Last at the top, who's really keen and integrated in that kind of pathway through for yourselves?
Yeah, Andy's been through the system. He understands what being a junior player is within the club. He understands what talent development looks like as a coach and the head of youth. He has put a big apprenticeship in working with junior teams, and obviously working at that top level now, so he knows what top end international elite looks like, he knows what top end elite academy looks like, and he knows what talent development systems look like. So he has got a great grip of that, and he knows how to bring players into the first team. He will also tell you when players aren't good enough as well. So he's strong enough to tell you when somebody's not good enough, but also help us mould the players coming through the system.
A lot of your role as well will be recruitment at the first team level, and that's kind of already started with Will Tate and Lewis Johnson coming through the door already. Is those kind of players, that kind of age bracket, something that you'll be targeting moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's well documented that our first team squad is very experienced, and they've all been in the game for a long time and achieved a lot. You can't just go and have success purely with young players, so you do need some experienced players within that. However, you need some young players coming through in that squad as well, and that is certainly something that we need to go and recruit, because we haven't got that yet coming through the system. So I think from a recruitment point of view, you'd be looking at young English players that are around like an England Knights type of level, to try and bring some of them in, complement some of our senior squads that we've got contracted or will retain, and then our focus is on nurturing the level underneath that of our academy graduates coming into that first team squad. So we need to really kind of refine and well balance our first team squad so that our age is balanced, our ability is balanced, and our aspiration is strong.
Touching on the coaching side of things, Craig Lingard's just been appointed as assistant coach with us. Just a word on him and what he'll bring to the Tigers.
Yeah, again, I think if we're identifying young British talent, I think Craig fits that. Like Andy and himself as a young British talented coach, Craig is certainly that. I think he's done his apprenticeship in the Championship and proven to get a lot out of his players. You know, a grand final appearance last year, and really competed hard with, you know, the playing groups that he's had. So he's been attractive to the club, and certainly to Andy. Andy, really looking forward to working with him, and they've got a similar mind of how they do things. So I think Craig will certainly be excited to get his teeth into the attacking side. And I know we've improved significantly over recent weeks and months of a defensive side. So if Andy and Craig can get their heads together then, and supported by Scott and Morell working with them young kids, then hopefully we've got a good formula to end the season well. And I know for sure, I'm confident that we've got the formula to have success over the 2 or 3 years to come.
Yeah, it's a young kind of coaching setup at the top, really, isn't it? It must be quite exciting to be a part of for the future moving forward. Yeah,
absolutely, it is, and that's always challenging when you try and go through a transition and have a plan. Like anything that has a vision, it's down the road, and it takes time to get there. As long as you've got a plan that you're confident in, you can see the parts falling into place, even though sometimes people can't always see that in real time. We know that we'll get to a point where we're sat being successful year after year consistently. And we know that until we get to that point, we have to show that we've got pride, that we care about CAS, and we're competitive on the field. And the players really care. So we know where we are in the season, and we need to finish this season really strong and give the fans what they deserve as well. But know that in the future, we'll give them that in abundance.
Yeah, touching on that, obviously there could be some growing pains which supporters won't be too pleased about, but how important is it they see that kind of long-term vision with you, that, you know, things will improve, things will get better? Yep,
and I think we've got to be explicit with that. So when everything's finalised, I think we have to be explicit with our plan, with our vision and where we want to go. I've spoken to fans in the past, and I feel like we're all in it together. So it's important that they're aware of where we're going and the journey and the steps it's going to take to get there. But I appreciate they see a product on a weekend and pay their hard-earned money to see that too. So they've still got to be excited week to week, and you know, we've got Catalans this week and a Challenge Cup run to look forward to, and hard work and effort would be the start of where we can start to turn this tide, and I know we'll do.
And Andy at the top again is very keen on that kind of club-fan relationship really as well, so that's incredibly important, isn't it?
It is. We had a trip in Catalan. We got to spend some time with a good group of the fans, and Andy spent a lot of time with them, and he was able to share their concerns and and air his plans. So he's passionate about it, and he won't hide away from that. He won't hide away from that, and I know he's confident in his ability, and we can stand here in a couple of years' time and look back at everything, hopefully lifting some silverware, and know that this is where it started. You know, it's something about all the best diamonds are built out of the biggest pressures, so hopefully we can get some diamonds.
Looking at our coaching staff as a whole, we've got a lot of representatives for England at the top level and with the Knights as well. That must be really positive moving towards the future and as a product to come to. Seeing those top level coaches within this club, it's an attractive place to be.
Yeah, it's great for us. We've got some great talent. We've got some great talent on the field and off the field. You know, Rob Nicola, who's our head of youth, is a Yorkshire coach, so gets to compare the best in the country with ours, and also pick up ideas there. And, you know, Adam Whitney's at Knights, our S&C, so he gets to work with the best at that level that we're looking at, you know, recruiting and stuff. And then Andy obviously at the top with Matty, who was the physio. So I think at every level, like you say, we've got talented staff that work for us. That's something to be proud of, and it bodes well for our future. We've just got to make sure that everything comes together and we're consistent with our message and our plan. That's the thing, is being consistent with it. But you can only be consistent with it when it's clear in your head. And we're at that point now, so we're happy.